being stuck at home this year, as so many people have, writing a book gave me a very meaningful thing to do. But I was surprised that I started writing it, because I'll tell you, I thought that I had written as much as I ever wanted to write down about treating anxiety. I have written several books, as you know, and then the world changed and something started to happen that made such a difference in the way people were dealing with and even experiencing anxiety. And I'm starting to refer to this as ambient anxiety, that there's this kind of miasma on the news and social media and everywhere you go and what people are talking about that is so anxious. We're living in this ambient anxiety all the time. And it's almost impossible for any person without a mental health disorder to avoid that anxiety. But if you have any inclination towards anxiety at all, it's been living in this high state of vigilance. And I began to think we really need some refresher about how to cope with it. And we need some new strategies, because things are different. The pandemic has made health anxiety enormously problematic, and panic about whether you've been exposed or your family's been exposed or your children are going to get sick or your parents are going to die in a nursing home. I mean, these are things that are new. Fear is not new. Anxiety isn't new. Depression isn't new. But living at this ratcheted up rate of anxiety was. So I started to think about, what do we need to know and what do we need to address? And in this book, I started to think about, it's not just pandemic. It's about fires out of control around the world, in Brazil, in Australia, in California, in the United States, in parts of Canada. The same issues about climate change are enormously impacting the commerce and the well-being of people. Everything you hear, this is the worst ever. This is the worst ever fire. This is the worst ever hurricane, the worst ever flood, the worst ever race riots. And I'm thinking, I wrote the best ever anxiety techniques, and now we've got the worst ever situations in the world. It makes me anxious almost just to describe it this way. So I started writing, and what I wrote about in this book and what I want to talk about in this session is what we can do to handle the impact of our daily experiences of stress, of working from home and managing children, and the stress of health anxiety on our own behalf and others, to take a look at fear of what's happening and how do we make ourselves just step back and get calmer and find strategies. I'm going to talk about things like what I call Corona time blur, where we don't even know what day it is sometimes when we've been stuck at home, and how that can be handled better. In a seminar I took on for you early in the pandemic, when we were all kind of, working our way through this, I did a session for you on the depression of death and loss related to the pandemic, which is also in the book. In this session coming up, I want to focus more on the anxiety management strategies, health, panic, and stress, and see if we can give ourselves a new twist to help ourselves and also our clients. So the book is about that. The seminar is going to be focused on the anxiety part of it, not so much on the loss part, which I dealt with for you, and I think it's probably still available as an archived webinar for you as well. So that's what I hope to do. That's what the book is about. It'll be out in a few days after the US president is out, we hope. And we'll go on, because the anxiety of the pandemic isn't gone yet.